Welcome to the interview series with the authors from A Journey of Riches. I'm joined today by Julian Mann. He's a three principles facilitator, and we collaborate on a book together, Journey of Riches, Building Self-Confidence. Great to connect with you today, Julian.
You too, John. Hello.
G'day. And I really appreciate your transparency and honesty in sharing the experiences that you went through, kind of like I guess a nervous breakdown of some sorts. And I went through one, a major one, and it's not easy to come back. And I remember the first time I wrote that experience and I had it published, I felt like really exposed and open and raw and a little wounded. And then it just, the more I opened into that and then I got positive feedback, it was because so often we feel like we're the only ones that go through these experiences. And that's what I found. Just getting feedback from other people that have read the chapter, the response was amazing. And I suspect that you will receive the same. What inspired you to share your experience?
Well, first of all, I get what you're saying about the vulnerability. It certainly does feel that way. We're so used to projecting ourselves as strong and in control, but in reality, life. Right, so Sydney Banks, who I follow from the three principles, called life a contact sport, and you don't avoid your knocks, getting knocked about by life, but it's your resilience and your understanding of life that helps you through. Really, that's what I write about, because my inspiration to share was simply that it felt like the right thing to do when you approached me. And normally I would be like, who is this person? Why would I do that? But I just had an instinct that it was the right thing to do. And there were a few synchronicities, but about when you contacted me, precise moments as I thought of you, or as I picked up my phone, or just when I was thinking about like my future and what I was going to do. That's when you beam in. So I sort of felt it was worth taking a chance, and I didn't even know initially what I was going to share. Actually, I didn't have a idea I'm going to share this story, but it was more that I should follow this route. And then when I came to write, it came, as is the way with all these sorts of creative endeavors. Actually, the thing to write about became clear.
Afterwards, after you made the decision.
Yeah. So really, it was following an intuition to take a chance and be a part of this wonderful thing you're doing. And then what there was to share became clear. And so I didn't set out to share about having depression and having struggles. It's not something I would seek to publicly share, but in reality, there was a gift in that experience, because I came out the other side of it with a better understanding of life and of thought. And my experience was that I kind of recovered from a diagnosis of depression. Let's just put it that way. A therapist diagnosed me with depression. And I basically recovered fairly much instantaneously once I had a realization about the cause of that. But in the terms of the title of the book, Building Self-Confidence, all I would say is that I did go from being a very confident person who wrote poetry books and posted on social media and had a business I started up and was very relatively successful with. And I got to a point where I was talking to, groups of 20 people or so. Actually, it was 19, let's be honest. And I was very confident in that. I didn't have any trepidation about it. I just felt like yes, of course I can do this. But then when I went through divorce and some of the people I was connected to, it didn't work out as I thought it would, should we just put it that way. I felt like I hadn't made any right choices about my life. In fact, in a wider viewpoint, there are no right or wrong choices in life, actually. It's just about going with the flow of it. But my confidence completely bottomed out. I had no confidence. So I went from total self-confidence to pretty much zero self-confidence, a state of bewilderment and pain. And a lot of that was around the anger and resentment I held about what had happened to me towards certain relationships that were important in my life. And I was encouraged to hold on to that. Some of the people in my support network felt it was necessary that I should acknowledge what had happened to me and that I was in the right. But actually, I mean, you can acknowledge things that have happened to you, but if you hold on to anger or consistent negativity, it's like you're just sipping on poison, psychological poison. And eventually, no matter how strong you are, it will wear you down. And when we're in those sorts of states, I mean, this is really about forgiveness, it's understanding a meaning of forgiveness. When we're in those states, what we think is that we have to hold on to the resentment and the anger to protect ourselves. But all we're actually doing is holding on to something that's toxic. And so we don't let go of all that for the other people who have apparently wronged us. We let go of it for ourselves because we deserve to have good feelings and a beautiful life. And that's what became clear to me. But once I let go of the anger and recovered it almost straight away, really, it's amazing how quickly it happens when your mind adjusts. And once I let go of it, I just started to get a deeper sense of connection and compassion for humanity overall, because the truth is all anyone can do is the best they know how to do with the understanding they have of life. And there's an endless depth to understanding that. And I wouldn't say I've got that all worked out. I still get upset, apparently, with people, although in fact that upset's always coming from within me because my experience can only come from me. But there's an innocence in people, and even sort of negative acts and behaviors are actually carried out innocently because people don't know how else to be. And that doesn't mean we say it's okay for them to do it. It just means it's not personal. It means it's about them. And what we want to focus on is ourselves. So, yeah, that's what I tried to share, because I experienced an almost instantaneous relief from deep depression. And things just started getting better, and my life started getting better, and my relationships started getting better, and it's still going on, it's still ongoing. So if that can give hope to like just even one person, then it was worth writing. That's the way I look at it anyway.
Yeah, I really like how you shared I mean, it was very vulnerable and raw, and an invitation. It's nicely written, and it's an invitation to explore deeper aspects of ourselves, because, everyone's going through something where they have a little bit of trepidation of taking the next step, or how do I take the next step, or am I enough, or am I worthy? And it was just a simple thing of you having to pick up a car, which was this huge, big opportunity for you to confront yourself, and how you actually were able to build the confidence through that. Because when we're anything that if we have a sense of purpose or a mission, it was almost like your mission to go and do this thing. Now, for any other ordinary person, or your version of yourself that, maybe 12 months prior, you could have easily done this simple thing. But it became this real quest and mission to conquer and overcome this aspect of yourself that you continually found yourself waking up each morning in this state. And I find that was a real turning point for you to, oh, hang on, I actually can turn my life around. This doesn't have to be my whole life for the next, 3, 4, 5 years. And I feel it gives a lot of people hope. And the reader's going through that experience with you. So I found it very inspiring.
Well, thank you, John. Yeah, I'm glad you did. I think that's the point, isn't it? That even in your darkest moment, your experience is constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not forever. And that's what I'd really want to impress upon anyone who's really in a dark place. It's not forever. Just hang in there, hang on in there. Because when we're suffering, what we're experiencing is a temporary experience. It's the thinking we have, the understanding we have, whatever that's based on, whether it's our past experiences or our current experience. I'm not really worried about where it comes from. At the end of the day, it always comes from within us and how we're seeing life and our experiences. But the thing to understand is that's always changing. But inside us, underneath all that turmoil or busy-mindedness, there's something that never changes. And if we can, when we hook into that, and it's always there, we just need a quiet mind to feel it. That part of us that never changes is always at peace. And that's where wisdom and insights come to us from. That's where a magical little thought came into my head that changed me from being depressed to being well. Just like that. We're not supposed to think that's possible. It's all, if you've got depression or any other condition, you're in trouble. You're going to need years of work, but that doesn't have to be true. And your life can change, can't it? Just magically at any given time. We never know when wisdom or insight's going to show up. But if you understand that your experience comes from within you, from your thoughts about what's happening to you, and underneath that, there's a true self. It's the same true self in me as in you, as in everything. And that is always peaceful and always knows what to do. And it doesn't show up for us when we tell it to. It shows up when we need it. It showed up for me when I needed it. And the events that led me to those realizations all happened just as they needed to happen. There's something behind life that we can't see, but we know it's there, I think. I don't know, I'm rambling. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, there's the depth. Well, I mean, synchronicity. How do you explain synchronicities, and how do you explain, like, when you're just thinking about someone or something, then all of a sudden you see it, and yeah, no, there's definitely a fabric of intelligence that weaves us all together. And yeah, I mean, call it what you want: universal intelligence, God, your higher self. You know, there is definitely an intelligence that's in all things.
Yeah, I mean, you can think it's coincidence if you want, but there's just too many coincidences to
Yeah, I mean the
be a
synchronicity.
coincidence. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And what do you hope people take away from your chapter?
well, hope, a sense of hope about life. Just that would be the main thing. And a sense of possibility. It's just hope that we're resilient and we can bounce back from whatever life throws at us. And just a little bit of an understanding that we have a power within us to change our lives, and that we do have a choice, we do have free will, we can choose how we see things when we understand that. Right, when you're not awake to, right, when you're in the middle of a turmoil, or, upset thinking, you can't let go of it in that moment. But if you know underneath that there's that constant peace, and that becomes more interesting slowly but surely, and the turmoil and the drama becomes less interesting, and your life just starts to become a little bit more stable, a bit more positive, more enjoyable. And you just find that you can deal with your challenges a bit better. So I think it's just, if I can wake that kind of awareness up if it helps to awaken that awareness within someone, you're set then you're set. Whatever life throws you, that's in the background, and you sort of end up coming back to it. So,
Awareness is key. I like that. I think that's a really good takeaway for people that, find them that read your chapter and they're in a dark place, or at the beginning of something that they don't really sure how to handle it. And I feel that your chapter would be a great resource for them to read over and over again.
I mean, I'm looking forward to reading everyone else's chapter, actually, because I've still got plenty of self-confidence building to do. So, so I look forward to it. Yeah.
I don't think everyone, I mean, I'm not always confident and 100% belief in myself, and especially if I get myself out of my comfort zone. I feel that that's part of the adventure of life and living, is that, to move through that anyway and trust that, if you take that leap of faith, you will be held or catch or caught, or, a net will appear, or, I feel that most of the time it's much worse in the head. And if you just go and do that thing or move towards it, even though it might be scary and it brings up all the different things and you sweating and trembling and shaking or whatever, just take the step anyway. One of the authors in the previous book that we launched, her motto for the year is "Do it scared," and I feel that that's a really great mantra to take on board and to live by. Just do it scared, move towards it anyway, and you'll just notice that the fear that holds us back just diminishes the more that we move towards the thing that we're afraid of. Have you found that? And I feel that your chapter is a lot about that. I feel that, you didn't think you could do this thing, but you did it scared. And then you realize that, okay, it wasn't so bad. I did it. I made it.
Yeah, exactly. But that awareness is another way of putting it, like realizing that you can spend a lot of energy worrying about stuff or projecting like different unsettling or frightening scenarios, but in reality, the reality always will be that you'll do it, and you may feel fear or elation or whatever along the way, but it'll work out and you'll be okay and you'll handle it,
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm talking about. It's just about a little bit more awareness of life, so you have a bit more peace, a bit more, I don't know, faith, I suppose. Is Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have done what you've done if you listened to your fears, could you?
No, that's
You
right.
couldn't say
No,
that.
yeah, no, that's right. And I'm always learning and growing, and that's the one thing about these books is, I learn from people like yourself and the other authors in the book, and I get to read everyone's chapters you know, at least a couple of times, and always get like a bit of insight from each chapter. And yeah, I like to just open from any, when I get a chance to read in the paperback form, I just like to get there and just open up a page and just read that page. And it's uncanny how it's just what I needed to read for the day or the morning, and just to
Yeah,
let
that
that
makes sense.
percolate. Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
I mean, there's a website where they do random book excerpts.
Right.
Choose one of the books, and it'll give you a random page, and yeah, that tends to be like that. It's like whatever you needed to hear in the moment.
Yeah, I think that that's great, and it shows your chapter. I mean, you're very humble, and by saying that you need to build self-confidence, and that may be the case, but you have a lot of wisdom to share, and I know that the clients that you do work with find it very valuable. And I remember you were telling me that the woman that came to see you, and yeah, she just credits you like, you know, if you weren't there, then, she doesn't know where her life would have been. And I know you've got quite a few different experiences like that where you've been an awesome anchor and support for other people.
Yeah, it's humbling to be in that position for other people, just as I was once told myself, if I'm honest. But something that's come up and why the book's interesting is that I'm increasingly finding it, and I do love to tell my story and share, but I'm also much more interested in listening to other people, hearing what they have to say. People are interesting. We're all part of the same source.
Hmm.
And it's very interesting. So I'm trying to do a bit more listening and a little less speaking, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. I mean, it's not that I'm not going to speak or share, but I don't be so busy thinking about me and what I'm going to say that I miss a bit of treasure that's coming from someone else, because it's a bit mystical to say this, but that someone else is the same as me anyway.
No, well, there's a lot of truth in that, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, at least in our consciousness, that there's a place of oneness um, that you can experience.
yeah,
Think of group meditation, and there's been a lot of experiments that have actually proven that our consciousness, and if we're all aligned with our consciousness, we can change, the collective consciousness of an area. And we think of the Maharishi effect,
yeah,
Chicago, Illinois in the 1980s. It was the murder capital of the world, and a group of meditators got together, spiritual beings that were able to raise their consciousness. And we can measure the brainwave frequency and the different brainwave states. And, if these meditators got to gamma brainwave frequency, and there were no murders for that whole week they meditated.
yeah. Because there are those that say that you don't necessarily have to say something or do something. Sometimes just if we're all one consciousness,
Mhm.
individual aspects of one thing, then by holding that kind of feeling vibration of love and compassion, we we're doing that for the one consciousness. That's what we're putting in there. And that can be just as powerful as a physically noticeable act. We're not used to acknowledging it. We're always focused on the outside. But our inner state is just as important. Um, we're just not collectively that used to thinking that way. But I think we are becoming more aware of it, you know. So, and that Maharishi thing, that was measured and proven, wasn't it? There was data around it that showed that there's a definite effect, and the energy of the heart was powerful, and had a magnetic attraction and changed the vibration of that area. And I can't remember, didn't they measure that there was something measurable in the atmosphere or so? Anyway, whatever it was, it
Yeah, I'm
physically
not sure about
improved.
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
we don't, but all that's actually just because apparently we need scientific evidence, otherwise it can't, to be convinced. But inside we know it's true. We don't need the scientific evidence.
Right. Yeah. Well, you can have an experience of yourself and be your own experiment. But there is heart math research which has proven that, the heart has a electromagnetic field more powerful than the brain. And they also have, well, the crime rate dropped. So there's the statistics of that year that I think you can find on Maharishi's website. He's passed now, transitioned, but there is a lot of evidence. They did showed a lot of, they did a study and a lot of evidence from that. So, which he shared. And I believe
Yeah,
he still has his place in North Carolina, and he has a shrine and things. And they have, the information there that you can go and see and read about it. So,
yeah.
so it's pretty cool. And do you have like a morning practice or something that helps you tap into different states of consciousness or awareness?
I mean, I do like to meditate sometimes, but I don't have a regular practice.
Mhm.
What I'm interested in is just finding a quiet mind, really, which is a type of meditation in itself. So you sort of like, I'm interested in what is sometimes, oh, I'm just going to get that door.
Mhm.
The doors are opening. I'm interested
Okay.
in sort of like the difference between the state of meditation and the act of meditation. The state of meditation is a quiet mind, but which you don't necessarily have to do a physical act of meditation or whatever to achieve, although acts of meditation are beautiful. And I do some guided meditations. I like the Orrin and Darwin meditations by Luminescence Productions. I like Think and Grow, not Think and Grow Rich. I like Abraham's teachings. And
Mm.
sometimes I like to meditate and have a chat with my guides and stuff like that. Although that could just be another way of connecting with your inner wisdom. But yes, so I do like to do those practices, but I'm chiefly interested in just having a quiet mind and observing when my mind gets busy that it doesn't have to be that way. And
Mm.
sometimes it needs to be that way. I've got projects to manage and customers to see, and of course, you've got to be in your active intellectual mind. But having said that, the power of thought's a very real thing, and when I do consistently focus on certain goals, like visualizing a lot of business coming to me and good relationships, it's amazing how quickly it happens. you know. Um, so if there's something specific I want to create, I do visualize it or tell a positive story about it and catch habitual negative patterns where stories I tell myself about stuff like, oh, I never get, if something like I never get the right customer and people haven't got the right people to help me, stop, I have great people to help me and all the right customers, they're loving people and blah, 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 blah. You can tell a different story. You can see it happening, right? There's no right or wrong. It's individual. What I'm
Mhm.
noticing is I've been doing that a little less, and I'm just a bit more interested in peace within, um, and allowing opportunities to unfold for me. Um, I think it's very individual, and there's no right or wrong way to seek truth or it's what's right for the individual in the moment, you know. But there's definite power in visualizing what you want and talking it out, like telling yourself a story. I like that Abraham thing where you tell a story. I think it says something like 68 seconds. Sometimes I write stories down,
Right.
positive
Okay.
stories, and I
Yeah.
and I and I read them out to myself aloud if I'm by myself. For some
Mm.
reason, I don't do it. There's people around that much. Although really, it should be okay. But what can I say? And then I might take a bit of time to visualize it. If it's something I really want to get going, you know. How about you, John? What do you do? Can I ask?
Well, I like that. I think it instates an energetic connection to belief, the power of belief, and a
Mm,
sense of confidence and purpose, having, a vision or an intention, a goal that you'd like to bring into reality. I find that that's a really good shift and a point of focus. For myself, I definitely like to, set intentions, something that I intend, and to invoke it with, like a story, tell a more empowering story. I find is really good. I do like the act of meditating or yoga or just losing myself, um, sense of my identity and just being with, whatever I'm doing, whether that be a yoga pose, or just sitting still, or, observing. I got one of my hobbies is tropical fish. And so just looking at the fish and just allowing, just being in that moment with that particular fish. And I find that very peaceful, and to get into that harmonious state. I feel like whatever you want to create or bring into existence, and whether that be more belief or confidence or whatever it may be, a particular thing or relationship, I feel you want to get into a state that, can invite that in, that can be, you can meet it where it's at.
mm.
And I find just getting into really nice, beautiful relaxation, getting in the right frame of mind, so to speak, is really helpful. And so just, watching fish, doing meditation, yoga, walking in nature. And then if there's something that I, don't speak of the absence of it, I think it's really, I really like what you said about, telling yourself a more empowering story, and talking about what you want, not what you don't want. And a lot of cases, people, well, I don't know what I want. Well, start with what you don't want, and then generally it's the opposite of that, right? And and that can be torturous. But if you can just give yourself a break and stop the, one of the things that sometimes I get myself in is just negative loops. If I can just take little breaks throughout the day, or if I find myself in a negative loop, just take some deep breaths and be present with myself and come back into the present moment. And I feel that that's a really good way to break a negative loop, and then to recalibrate and refocus. Well, what is it that I don't want? Well, it's not that. Okay, if that's negative and anxious, then I really need to just take a break, and maybe lay out in the sun or go for a swim, or you know just do something that breaks that state. And then once I recalibrate, then I can then, from a more empowered state, okay, this is what I want. This is how I want things to be.
Yeah, I mean that's a tricky one, isn't it? That sounds no one that obviously has worked for you, by the way. But
Yeah, it's constantly course correcting and adjusting, and but I feel like one of the biggest things you can do is to show up. If you can just show up, then you at least you put yourself in a position for things to align, for things to go the right way. But I feel like that's a lot of people go missing in action, and I get it. It's just, if you can just show up and be there, with the trembling knees and the shaking hands, or, the fear and all and the sweats or the anxiety, the uncertainty, just show up and allow yourself to be led. Well, just be open to things shift in a different direction.
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice. I mean, I think the what you want thing, I don't know what I want. It's very familiar. But what
Yeah.
I found is that you have your life as it is.
Mhm.
You have whatever job you've got, whatever relationships you've got. Okay. And if you find yourself busy saying, "Oh, I hate this about my job, and I hate that about my job, and this relationship, why can't he be like that? Why can't she do this?" Start with that. Like,
Mhm.
how would I like my day to be at work today? Well, I'd like to go in. I'd like to have some, I don't know, I want to have some friendly interaction. I'd like my relationship with my boss to be a bit better and feel like we were just understanding a bit each other. Maybe he respects me a bit more. And I'm definitely open to having a good feeling when I'm at work today and stuff like that. And not, oh, he never appreciates me. He's always pushing me too hard. He's always giving me too much work, all that sort of stuff. And then you might start finding, okay, well, he's being like that because compassion starts coming in as well. He's doing that because he's got his own concerns, and it all just suddenly starts to soften. I found that relationships can soften just like that. If you come off that negative focus, take your foot off that pedal, that constant, you don't realize you're constantly doing it. He never appreciates it. He's always doing this. He's always pushing me too hard. He doesn't appreciate what I do. And the same with your relationships at home. So just start with what's in front of you and think about how you could change that for the better. Start telling a new story about that. And then you can move on to what you might like to do. So maybe you want to start a business or do some coaching or play more tennis. So then you can start going down that path. And I know what I found is started to come up for me is slightly more outrageous ideas of what I might like to do that before I couldn't even have dreamt of allowing myself to think I could do.
Mhm.
But as you start getting a bit more positive and your sort of self-belief, self-worth starts to naturally evolve, you might find some little ideas about that maybe were always there in the
Mhm.
background of your mind, but you just didn't think were possible for you. So that's all I would say is whatever's right in front of you can be improved, can feel better. And it might, if someone's listening to this and thinking, oh, that might be true for you, but how can I possibly make this better? Well, then just think that you're going to have a good day and feel okay today. Just start from where you are, because your reality is an inside job, and if you change your frequency or vibration from the inside, it will change on the outside. It's what you focus on that's important. Um, just try and come back to that, and just try and develop broad shoulders when things come at you. You don't
Right.
try and let it just roll off a little bit, because it's not in your, because the outside world is kind of that seems so solid is just something we've created from inside ourselves, not necessarily with that much awareness. And we're talking about putting awareness into it, aren't we? Um, but if it's a little less solid, then maybe it makes no difference whether you're focused on nice things happening or so-called bad things happening. But maybe it's nicer if the nice things happen. So maybe just focus on the good feeling. And that's the thing, what goes back to that coming to a quiet mind, because that always feels good. It always feels peaceful. That's our default setting. So if you can't do anything else, just try and let go of everything you're worrying about, because underneath there's a peaceful mind. And practice like meditation can help you get there. It's all connected. It's all just about feeling better, raising your vibration, right?
Yeah, I like it. And yeah, what's any, like, how can people get in contact you? How would people can find out more about what you do and share?
Yeah, I mean, currently I've got a Facebook page, Deep Dive Poetry.
Yeah.
Written, 3 volumes
We
of
can put in
poetry.
links down below. Yeah.
and just my email address. Website under construction.
Okay, cool.
With a coach,
No
yeah, I've
worries.
really just because at the moment I've really mainly talked to people I know through social media and personally. No doubt we'll have to get a bigger platform going now because
We've got this book.
I tell you
Yes.
what,
Okay.
John, edit this out. I need to get a website going actually for the coaching thing. Just a little something. It's just finding time to do it because at the moment, I'm in landscaping. I'm super busy. I'm not even keeping up with the
What
design
you've got.
costings and all that. And I could ask my brother-in-law to do me a little website because he does graphic design, but that means opening up to my family about what I'm doing. So, or
Okay.
maybe I could go on what's it called? Fiverr or something and
What?
get someone to put a platform together.
Oh, okay. Or Upwork is another one, or
I
Odesk.
mean, I have done it before. I've built my own website in the past, but I haven't really even thought about the content or how, you have to.
Okay.
It's one thing to put it together. I'm physically capable of going on Wix or whatever and putting a website together. Because I haven't. I was all up for that a few years ago before everything fell apart.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, I feel like the right people just find you anyway, and just having conversations
They do.
about this, and you don't necessarily have to have a website or anything like that. And if people really want to work with you, they'll find a way of finding you.
They can
And
find me on Facebook, can't they? So.
well, that's right, yeah. And there's always, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
the
I
right
think
people
a little
find you at the
platform.
right
Well,
time.
if inquiries come, enough inquiries into all that come, and I'm less
Mhm.
busy with the other stuff, then of course I'll put effort into having more of a platform. Because, like you say, if you've got something to share and people are ready to hear it, you will just connect.
Mhm.
Again, the inside job thing, isn't it?
Well, yeah, power of synchronicity. Yeah,
Yeah,
two realities coincide.
yeah.
And yeah, did you ever get to meet Sydney Banks when you were studying with the three
No,
principles?
no, he died in. I can't remember. Was it 2012? And I came across it in
Okay.
2017. I mean, I've
Okay.
got many hours of recordings of his and
Mm.
books,
His
and
recordings are amazing. You can really
yeah,
feel the energy shift after listening to one.
I mean, it made a big difference to me. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and
Yeah, powerful human being. Yeah.
yes, an aspect of consciousness that came through him, and to give us all that message. It
Phenomenal.
works for me anyway.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
yeah. I think I haven't spoken to anyone that's had listened to one of the recordings and haven't felt something magical shift inside them. And it's just a way with his words, and it's very powerful.
Mm. So
Yeah,
no, I didn't meet him personally, but I've met a lot of his direct people.
yeah,
People who have met him. Yeah.
yeah. And his son's still around, and he's the chairman of the foundation and whatnot. So yeah, it's pretty cool. That's Dave Banks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you stepping up and saying yes and following the synchronicities. You're having a dream, and then you woke up, and it was 333 or something synchronistic like that. And and then my message came through at the same time as you woke up, and
I think the time thing and numerology might have been someone else, John, but definitely I had a
okay,
dream about doing this and I woke up and the phone went bing and there you were on Messenger asking me if I wanted to do it.
yeah.
You know,
And you hadn't been posting at all for a while.
yeah, things like that happened about 3 times.
Yeah,
I had to drop my, because at the time I wasn't in a particularly great or confident place.
yeah.
I wasn't really of a mind to
It was
respond to
about 8 months ago, I think, I
a
believe.
Facebook friend who I didn't know that well
Yeah,
asking me if I do something with him, like, what? So, but
yeah,
like I said, I couldn't ignore the synchronicities, so I went with it.
yeah.
And as it turns out, I got to tell my story, meet some wonderful people. I think it's an
Mhm.
amazing group. you know, I've made not always the best judgments of people I've got in with in the past, more than one occasion. So it wouldn't have, I wouldn't say it lightly, but I met with the group and they seem like very positive people. And it feels good to be a part of it. And you know, it's there. You've done a lot of this work. You sell a lot of these books. There's a good chance a few people will read my story. And like I said, if even one person got a significant benefit from it, then it would be more than more than worthwhile doing. Plus, of course, all the proceeds go and help the orphanage, right, and any other
Yeah,
charity.
friend's home in northeast of Bali, just outside of Amlipura, Karanasem Regency of Bali, the island in Indonesia. And yeah, it's I've been helping that family now since 2021. And so, yeah.
The guardian angel.
Yeah, that's a whole story in itself. But yeah, it's just great chatting with you, and just to give everyone yeah, an idea of, you know, the man behind your chapter and what you went through. And I know it can really help someone that's, you know, at any stage of their life, just to, you know, have that little bit of hope and belief and confidence, and that you know, they they can change the trajectory of their thinking and their life.
And once you regain your confidence or uncover it, shall we say, because perhaps it never left you, you just couldn't find it for a bit, then you start to grow and achieving more beautiful things in your life. And then you can help other people. You can have an impact on them. I mean, look what you're doing. It's helping a lot of kids. It's important. And had you never stepped up and followed your heart, then you wouldn't be able to do that. So anyway, you know, it's always justified following your dreams and believing in yourself.
100%. Yeah. And most of the time it's like, oh my God, I don't know where to start. And it's just take the next step
Yeah,
and then decide from the, you know, take the next step from that point, and so on
that's
and
right.
so
One
forth.
step at
And
a
then
time. You don't.
the
Yeah,
right people will
the
come in
right thing
front of
shows
you.
up when it's the right time. It's not when we
Yeah.
think it happen. It's when we need it to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Follow the inspiration. It leads with breadcrumbs. And how do you feel in this inside, as well as, you know, a lot of times fear is guiding the way, you know, to push through and to be more, and yeah, to step up, to level up to a greater version of ourselves. So,
I mean, I
yeah.
think as in a there's a quiet knowing of the right course that's available to us. We just can't always hear it because we have so much. What if this happens? What if that happens? Like trying to work it all out with our intellectual mind. But if we can just let go of that, there's always a quiet knowing underneath, and that's like the greater mind we're all a part of. I'm just kind of learning to slowly trust that a bit more. To be honest, it depends how many triggers I've got around something about how easily I can hear it.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
there.
No. Yes.
It is always there. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I feel that we're far more capable than we believe that we are. And
Yeah.
that's why I feel like having something that we can move towards, you know, a sense of purpose and mission, you know, it really builds us and grows us, by having something that, you know, have no idea how we're going to do it or create it. But yeah, once we make it through the other side, looking back, it's like, oh, that wasn't too challenging, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got a few things like that that you've done, and starting your landscaping business, or the first coaching client that you worked with. And, um, you know, there was one point where you didn't think that was possible, and now landscaping is really easy for you. So,
Yeah. Well, apart from digging holes, that never gets easier. It's good if you got
um,
a good machine though.
you're right. Yeah. Yeah. If you can
Get
get
a tool,
a
get a tool to help you.
auger, is it like an aug or something? It's like
Yeah,
a,
an auger
and you
or a
hang on
digger.
one each side. Okay. Yeah, well, I had a landscaping business back in the day. It was, yeah, I sold it in 2010, November 2010, and moved into coaching and speaking and writing, and now publishing books. But yeah, I never would have thought I'd be in this position now back then. So
No,
yeah, it's amazing what we can do
it's
as a
very
people.
inspiring, John, what you've done.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Julian. Thank you for
I
trusting me and
appreciate
my
you.
team with your story.
Lovely to
And
speak to you.
Yeah, likewise. All right, take care. And yeah, I'll put some links down below where people can get in contact with you.
Thank you, Joe. See you later.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, comment, subscribe if you'd like to get more of the videos with the authors. Peace out.